guys, Jay here. Welcome to Models and Memories Weekly, episode 53. Models and Memories is a show about nothing and is filmed in front of a live studio audience. This is a show where I talk about my painting, modeling, and warming experiences from the week. Now you might think to yourself, Jay, you put out 3 YouTube videos a week and you stream every single night. How could you possibly have more to say? Well, I do, and here goes. This week, I didn't get much personal painting done, or any personal painting done, but I worked on a bunch of stuff for a bunch of stuff that you will be seeing soon. But I did see that Games Workshop showed off a brand new model, and it looks pretty snazzy. Rising from the dunes, it's the first sighting of an ash waste nomad. And this is a new model for Necromunda, which looks like a really cool game. I don't know if I have room in my life, in my heart, for more games. There's so many games out there that look really, really cool, but time, I have none. But Necromunda Ash Wastes. The Ash Wastes are the land that's around hive worlds or hive cities. And so usually you have cities that are the size of continents, and then you just have barren, desolate, dry deserts full of mutants. It's exactly like Judge Dredd. But this is a really, really cool model. I'm super conflicted on if I'm looking at a plastic model or a Forge World resin model, because I feel like I see things that point me in both directions. There's something going on a little weird with the fabric on his shoulder, but it also looks a little, I could believe it. I could believe it if you showed me this unpainted and it was plastic underneath. I could believe that too. And it's also tricky because Forge World sells models for Necromunda and Games Workshop sells models for Necromunda. So I don't know. I think if I had to bet money, I think I'd go plastic, but my eyeballs are telling me resin. But this guy looks dope. If this is a full 10-man Necromunda team, it's gonna be really, really cool. So Games Workshop has this weird habit when they show off one mini that's part of a box set. They seem to always pick one that doesn't perfectly show off everything. And I wonder if that's the case here, because this guy is cool, but I don't think that he's like the sergeant. I don't think he's the norm. He's got some kind of a sniper rifle. And so it'll be really interesting to see once you can get a look at all of these guys together. And he does have a robot foot. And in the teaser video they showed off at LVO, you see a metal foot stomping a guy. And so this might be the guy from that video. But I really like the model. It reminds me of a lot of things from a lot of different things. It reminds me, I could believe this is like a little bit of a Dune-y sort of guy. I mean, I know the Dune still suits are like very fitting and stuff, but I could also believe like that like there's other tribes that are a little bit more ramshackle. It's very Mad Max, which makes sense because it's the Ash Wastelands. And it's very Star Wars-y. I could totally see this guy walking around in the background on Tatooine. He's a little Tusken Raider-y. But I really like it. Everything I see from Necromunda looks dope. I really, really like it. It looks like a neat game. And I love that it's a non-competitive game, really. It's a much more narrative-driven game, which is great. Because 40K games, except for maybe Kill Team and Warcry, they're not really nice, tight, well-written rules competitive games. They're much more story-driven, social events. But this is a mighty cool model. I can't wait to see them show off more of it. And I know that the Ash Wastelands also have a lot of like vehicles. And so I would love to see some sort of crazy vehicles that would be great to kit bash and convert into maybe orcs or Gene Stealer cult for big 40K. I think that would be super, super cool. The Gene Stealer cult could use, they don't need anything, but I think that it would be great to have options because right now, the only way to build your Gene Stealers really is as like mining people from a mining world. They're all wearing mining fatigues, they're wearing mining boots, their vehicles are mining equipments, and I think it'd be great to have some options. Maybe a Gene Stealer cult uprising on a world that looks more like Necromunda, a little bit more ramshackle and tribal. Or it'd be cool to have Gene Stealer cults on a very nice world, you know, with royalty and beautiful clothing. I think there's a lot of fun things you can do with Gene Stealer cults. But right now, we get mining guys, and that's good enough, but I want more! So this week, I did a lot of thinking about Space Marines in my favorite game, Kill Team. And it's pretty wild that Games Workshop hasn't come out with a dedicated Space Marine team yet. Well, they did in the Compendium, which was what I was talking with people about this week, but they haven't come out with their own unique rules, either in a White Dwarf or in a doubles box, which is crazy. It's crazy that Space Marines, who usually get everything, haven't seemed to have gotten that much love this edition. But I was thinking about what would be the greatest way to bring out Space Marines, and I had an amazing thought that Games Workshop will never do, but it is very fun to think about. And that is, what have they been doing with these doubles boxes? They've been coming out with new units, either ones that have never existed or something that does exist with a little bit of an upgrade sprue to give you the special weapons that you need to play Kill Team. And so it kind of gives Games Workshop an opportunity to do one-off things or to supplement things that they already have. And I think part of the reason maybe that why they haven't done Space Marines yet is because they're boring. Like one of these doubles boxes just with some, Intercessor Space Marines would be super lame. But here's what I think they should do. I think that they should come out with a new Space Marine Tactical Marine box. I think that would, and have them true scaled, have them look, basically exactly like Primaris, because that's what Primaris is. But having the old armor, the old helmet options and some of the old armor marks sprinkled in there with more true scaled Space Marine weapons, I think people would absolutely lose their minds. Especially since the old Tactical Marine box is, when did it come out? 2016. It's pretty bad. We've gotten a lot of Tactical Marine boxes over the years. And when I bought that box in 2016, I'm like, damn, this looks a lot better than the old 5th edition Space Marine plastic box. It's not that much better. They've got weird wasp waists. They're very Buzz Lightyear in proportion. And they look so bad. It's so hard to have your Tactical Marines sitting next to your beautiful, awesome Primaris Marines. And so I think Games Workshop, because Games Workshop is phasing out classic Marines, which I think is fine. But I think it'd be really cool just to keep the classic tactical squad around. Maybe even down the road, have them be just veteran Space Marines. You've got your Intercessors, Reavers, and Cursors, and then you have your veteran Marines who wear, just hodgepodge armor and carry different types of weapons. And I think that would be I think Kill Team would be the perfect way to do that, because you can come out with one box of them with no expectations of more things to follow. Just like the Krieg Veteran Guardsmen. People were clamoring for plastic Krieg forever, and now they have them. And they have them in a way where they don't have the pressure of having to build heavy weapon teams and sergeant box and stuff. They can just put out Krieg and let people who want it have it. And I think they could do the exact same thing with Tactical Marines. I think of all the things that exist for the Firstborn, I think plenty of them can go. The Rhino, I love the Rhino, but the more I look at the Rhino, the more it's just a rectangle. It is just a rectangle. Some things I absolutely do love, the Drop Pod, the Land Raider, Terminators. Only those 3 things. Everything else, I think, can fade into the background and we can get new, cool Primaris stuff to fill its place. But I think Games Workshop should definitely do Tactical Marines. And they have to come out with it in a doubles box. So I think it should be Tactical Marines versus, not Gene Stealers, Tyranids. I think that would be a super cool doubles box. But there's 2 things that they can do. I guess both equally unlikely. I'm just making up a complete, hopeless wish list box here. New Gene Stealers, because we need them. Games Workshop. Gene Stealers are like one of the other big things from 40K. They're in every single video game. They're in every boxed game. Space Hulk, Lost Patrol, they're in everything. But they're still old plastics. I've built 30 plastic Gene Stealers, and they have 6 limbs apiece, all with terrible mold lines. I have literally spent years of my life scraping mold lines off of Gene Stealers. It's atrocious. Either put the new 2022 Tactical Marines in a box fighting brand new Gene Stealers, which is not even that crazy because they already have done it. There was new plastic Gene Stealers in Deathwatch Overkill, and there was new plastic Gene Stealers in Space Hulk. We have modern Gene Stealers in plastics, but they don't make them. They still make the old plastics. But I would love to either have Space Marines versus new Gene Stealers. There'd just be, that'd be perfect. Or I would love to see Tyrannid zombies. It would step on the toes of Nurgle just a little bit, but I think they could come up with ways to do it differently. I've seen some people do kind of gross, disgusting zombie-ish Tyrannids before, usually making heavy use of units that can bring in spore mines. I would almost love to do a Tyrannid spore mine army just because it's such a specific, gimmicky take on the Tyrannids. I would really, really like to see something like that. But I think you have a box that has, dead Tau and dead Space Marines and dead Imperial Guard, maybe some dead Orcs, dead Eldar, Knife Ears, have them all in a box together with like weird Tyrannid pustules and maybe little claws and mouths coming out of different areas. A lot like the Flood from Halo, how they have like those different forms. You got the bomb guys and you got the quick guys. I think you have a box of those. I think it would add just another interesting flavor to the Tyrannids. It might be a little bit too much of a chaff unit because Tyrannids already have the Ormagant and the Termagant, but I think there's a way. I think there's a way to do it. Maybe even have a unit, maybe like the Parasite of Mortrex or something similar that in big 40k can infect units and then you can put down these zombie models. Maybe they're not even models, but they're tokens of some sort of a special effect. I would love to see that. I think it'd be gross. I think it'd be weird. I think it'd be nasty. I think it'd be hilarious. And I think it would make for a really, really interesting kill team. Because the one of the great things about Kill Team is how well balanced it is. But one thing that is... Now, Kill Team is really well balanced and it's really, really good. But I think we could use some really, really well-made gimmicky teams. Maybe teams that aren't as efficient as some of the other teams available, because they're not gonna have like the sniper, the fast mover, the fighty guy, the combat guy, the buffing guy. But maybe if you could come up with a team that is made up of these weird zombies who all have kind of different abilities. Maybe they have disgusting resilience and they have different ways to stay on the board. Maybe they don't have a lot of good shooting options, but they're just so tough. Like Poxwalkers are a good example of a unit. They don't have guns, they're not good in combat, and they don't actually have that many wounds. Disgusting resilient will keep them alive a little. I would love to see almost 10 bodies, 3 up save disgustingly resilient, like just bad close combat weapons. Just models that are gonna be an absolute pain to knock off the board. But they're not terribly scary and threatening, they're just hard to fight. I think that would make for a really, really cool kill team. And you know who would be great to fight those undead zombies? Tactical Space Marines. It would be so cool. And then you could, people who really, really like the old Space Marines, they can buy boxes of these Kill Team Tactical Space Marines and then sprinkle them in throughout their Primaris Marines that they already have. And then you can get back to that mishmash of different armor marks, because I know some people really miss differently shaped knee pads and hate the Primaris because, this guy's knee, they all have the same knee pad, whereas back in Tactical Marine times, they were very slightly different knee pads, and that made all the difference in the world to some people. But I get it, I like the old Space Marines too, I like the new Space Marines too, but I like the old Space Marines, and I think it'd be cool to kind of give them one last hurrah before letting them all fade into oblivion. I think we'll always probably have just a little sprinkle of the old Space Marines, but I do think Primaris is gonna come in and change everything, and I think that's probably for the best. It'll be interesting to see how they get rid of all of the characters that they've ever made, because it's gonna be a lot of work. Although I've been loving the new Primaris characters. I mean, Adrax Agatone is one of the best models ever made. Mephiston, Lord of Death, probably is the best model ever made. And the old guys, a lot of them sculpted by Juan Diaz, who's an amazing sculptor and made some of the best models Games Workshop ever made. They're getting a little old, they're getting a little small. They just don't bring the oomph like they used to. And so I think it is time for a change. But I don't want to see too much change. I want to see one more box of Tactical Marines, and then that can be the end of classic Space Marines. The king is dead, long live the Primaris. I really like Primaris, they're neat. But speaking of things that are neat, this show is talking about my hobby experiences from the week, and I went to a very old, weird game store this weekend. It was a real blast from the past. It was just a sign on the side of the road, pulled off, went to it, and it was an old, dusty store, wooden shelves, everything just littered in RC car parts, trains. Literally, you had to kind of had to keep your arms tight so that you weren't knocking things off of the shelves because everything was arranged so haphazardly. But they had some neat stuff. I mean, they had everything you can think of. Rockets that looked like they may have caught on fire at one point, motorized boats, half of a drone, a fish tank that was green from algae. It was kind of a fun experience walking around there. And I found a really interesting product. This model kit from Star Wars. I've seen this floating around the interwebs for a while, and skill level 2. I think I have finally caught up that I can potentially build something like this. But this is a fairly poor quality replica of Jabba's palace, I'm not the biggest fan of Return of the Jedi, but the Jabba's palace stuff is probably some of my favorite stuff in the entire movie. If I have to give my official Star Wars ranking right now, I would definitely say Star Wars, A New Hope, 1977, Empire Strikes Back, Episode 7, I'm not doing Rogue One or Solo. Okay, so here we go. We got A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Episode 7, and then we've got 8, 9, 1, 3, 2? Yeah, that's what we'll go with. So if your list doesn't follow those exact things, just know you're wrong. Although, I mean, I'm sure my list changes like the tides. I mean, it's whatever Star Wars movie I've seen most recently is usually my favorite, but that's my list for right now. But I'm excited to give this a try. I've built a couple of Star Wars model kits over the years. I really get a kick out of them. And this one should be super fun because it's a real diorama. It's got a cheap vacuum formed plastic base that represents the floor of Jabba's palace. It's got a couple of walls, and it's got tiny plastic versions of all of our favorite characters like Droopy McCool, Sly Snoodles, Elephant Sky, Jabba the Hutt. The Jabba the Hutt in here looks terrible. I cannot wait to paint it. But I'm super Yak Face. I think Yak Face is in here. All of our favorite characters from Star Wars. Max Rebo, Bib Fortuna. Oh, I hope Salacious B. Crumb is in here. What I want to try, because I did this with a Luke's Pod Racer from episode 1. It's kind of a lame model kit, but I took it and I gave it 110% and I made it really, really cool. I believe you can see me talk about that on the first ever episode of Models and Memories Weekly. So if you're interested in that, go check that out. But I want to put another 110% effort into this and see how good can I make this. Because I've seen people build this. And it's not good. Everything is a little soft, the details aren't there, the scaling is very, very awkward. But I want to see, how good can I do this box? I don't know if it'll be a video, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm very excited to have found this literally caked in dust in the corner of an old hobby store. There was literally a squirrel in the store. We were walking around and just it was pretty great. And you know what else is pretty great? That's right, our Patreon. Over there, you'll gain access to tons and tons of super cool terrain. If you saw the video we put out this week, it was a beautiful video of us building all of the terrain. It was amazing. Go check it out. It was wonderful. But what was I talking about? Oh yeah, you also get access to some behind the scenes voting on models I paint live here on YouTube, a weekly live hobby hangout, one extra episode of EOB a week, and more. We also have merch. We got some fun t-shirts and sweatshirts, very comfortable sweatshirts with some fun hobby-related designs. But that is what I did this week. I can't wait to give this dumb box a build, and thanks for watching.